And a very warm welcome to the Barstewards Inquiry Weekend podcast. We've got a great show for you this evening. My name is Lee Keys of systembet.co.uk, and sitting with me this evening is John Lang of John Joe's Blogspot on Facebook as usual, and a very special guest for you tonight. A very big warm welcome to Zilzal89. This is a very, very shrewd handicap punter. Many of you that listen to our show will know him from Twitter. Pre-COVID times, this man was going around the world more times than Lisa Stanfield and Alan Wicker and Acid. And when the jump starts, he turns his attention to a right few tear-ups with the Chelsea and Millwall at the Elephant and Castle with his beloved hammers. Welcome, Nick Davis.
Tear up. Bloody hell, you're going back. That was pre-ICF, that was. I don't even remember the ICF.
Was that the days of Alvin Martin?
Yeah, just before Alvin Martin. That was Frank Lampard, Billy Bonds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was only about 15, 16 there, so I tended to, just cheer the lads on.
Yeah, classic. Yeah, doing well the Hammers though lately, aren't they? Last season it was a good finish.
Well, it was a very big surprise, and may it continue. But I'm not holding my breath. I mean, at least we won something when I was young, and that meant something.
For sure. Yeah. John, how's your day been today?
I had some very nice noodles from my tea.
Oh yes, is that the highlight today?
Absolutely, so far.
What did you both make of Baid today? Nick, what did you think of Baid?
I was super impressed. As I said to you on Twitter, it looked, I mean, we haven't studied the thing, but it looked on the visuals that it made ground into a quickening pace. And that's that was one of the key things, the way it did it, and then the way it went away. I said I haven't been more impressed from Ryder for a good long time. And while he hasn't got the form in the book for top-notch company yet, I'm pretty sure that the style it did it in suggests that it is top-class horse. I mean, Haggis hasn't. Well, he's kept it. Obviously, it's been a baby. It hasn't been started until June. It's career.
Yeah.
So he hasn't wanted to rush it. He's given it a few races. So we must think it was right backward, but it's come on leaps and bounds. And I'm looking forward to the QE2 if it ends up there.
For sure. What a racing prospect that could be. Let's hope that nobody's dodging what could be one of the races of the season. John, what was your take on it? I think it's a masterful training performance from the shirt with this horse. Like you said, like Nick says, late entry to the fold this year, and then the way it's gone about its business has just been something to behold, even though he hasn't faced Group 1 level. What's your thoughts on him?
I think Mr. Haggis will be taking a trip down Jermyn Street and ordering a choice of three. QE2 night. To be perfectly honest, I think that'll kick the living shit out of anything we've seen so far.
I mean, it's got the whoosh, hasn't it? I mean, we all three of us have been in this game plenty of time now, and you just know you don't really have to sort of check times or check. We could all put a rating on them or a speed figure or whatever, but you just tend to know when you see something pretty special, and I think this is it really. But yeah, it's going to be some race to savour if they all turn up in the QE2. RE Goodwood this week, John. Me and you touched on obviously the overzealous watering policy of all tracks really, but Goodwood seems to have carried on from good old Seamus, and obviously we've been left with dead and soft ground all week. Interesting that was there another one that broke down today?
I'm not sure, was there?
Yeah, Rochester House, I think, broke down.
Yeah,
that happened. Going down the far side, it pulled its head off, made a lot of running, and then just I think it's back leg went.
Yeah, I mean it's what Nick. It's what me and John's been saying for sort of a good while. We can't remember sort of many fatalities at places like Bath that obviously don't water. And yet the media, the clerks, the trainers, they all seem to want this You know,
well, maybe now it's the breeding. I mean, I started Clark Watch about 2008.
Yeah.
But it's all about the perception now of everything. If safety was the ultimate thing, they wouldn't have summer jumping.
No, exactly. No, fair point. No, that is that. Yeah, that's a fair point. Well made. What I found interesting as well was when you did that going stick analysis from you documented it for the last 10 years, and you sort of said why say for Ascot, for example, it's a well-established track, blah blah blah. Why are we, like you said, why are we still calling it good to firm on say 7.8 when it used to be good to firm on like 9.2, etc., etc.?
Yeah, and it's the same for a lot of tracks. There's very few tracks. No one's got back to me with an answer, which I'm not really surprised. Turf Track said we have noted that the going stick readings aren't what they were, but it's the same. Australians said to me, a few Australians said to me that they don't think the ban on the virtual ban, as we call it, the Melbourne Cup and all that, is the Australians don't think our horses can act on fast ground.
Yeah. No, because I mean, having watched racing out there and looked at their sort of penetrometer, the way they measure going, I mean, it's a bit like they're good to firm and probably like Bath's hard. It's kind of like you say, you go out there.
Yeah, you often see readings of 12.2 and things like that. If they interestingly enough give a third reading for a share, which I'm not 100% sure on, they usually give a second and third readings for share, which we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, might interesting to think that further, but I've been bashing my head with this watering thing for ages, and I think that the trainers now, they pressure the clerks, and then we have all this freakish weather, which we get downpours, which can turn good ground into soft ground within an hour.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the annoying thing, that you could literally have one downpour, 1.5 downpours if you like, and it'll just, you can see the tops coming off. Watching Newmarket's first tonight, is a classic example of that. I don't think it's good viewing when you're seeing big divots fly up when it's supposed to be, they've had a drought all summer down there. I just don't like to see it. John,
but the original thing in the 70s was to water to promote growth of grass.
Yeah,
that was the original thing. If you watch Mark Prescott in his interview, that was the original thing, to promote growth of grass, because if they have to go deeper, you get deeper roots if you let it starve it for a while. A grass has to go into deeper. Now it's very, very shallow roots, and they, as you say, they kick the top off.
Yeah, I think it's a big issue. It's a big issue going forwards. This, but like you said, I mean, is this to do with the breed? Then is the breed requiring this? Are they too heavy?
Well, maybe we've had Sadler's Wells generation passed down, and Galileo's like to get their toe in, and there's not many. If you want to send a fast ground, they go to Hong Kong now.
Yeah. No, too right. John, Ian Davis has asked a question. He says basically, would you consider, in your opinion, water ground a safe ground?
No, I wouldn't. No. Definitely not. Mainly for some of the reasons Nick highlights there when he says about the route situation. How can it be safe when you're racing around bends and they're knocking the top off like that? They're not getting any traction.
No. It's amazing as well. If you look now, certain tracks have having to sand the bends. Fonkwell over jumps have had to go to a sanded bend. Musselburgh over jumps have gone to a sanded bend. And it just goes to show that obviously tracks that maybe just chuck a bit too much on, maybe like Fonkwell, obviously for its summer jump racing, obviously ruins the bend. I mean, like we said, John, about the old Mel Britton, rest in peace, used to bellyache like mad at Thirsk.
Well, Thirsk bend. Just came back from Thirsk to Northgate Lodge with injuries, it was unbelievable, really. I mean, he'd take 4 or 5 to making it 30. You get told that we're off for 6 months when they were coming back, you know.
Yeah. And it kind of explains as well, if you ever do draw biases at Thirsk, the inside at Thirsk, particularly when there's cut in the ground, is a terrible disadvantage, which tells you a lot that when they've been watering, etc., gets cut up very quickly on the inside. And, you know, that's why when they all fan down the middle at Thirsk, you know, that's the usual pattern, a finisher's pattern down the middle. Probably because the inside's been watered to death towards that bend. So yeah, it's a very frustrating thing for punters, as us three can testify. Right, yeah, it has been quiet on the questions front this week. So we're going to move on to the tipping part of the show, which you'll be pleased. We've not done too bad this week, John. Really, on the whole, Catherine Fry's been desperate. I think I feel for her because she's not had much luck this season, and she's suffering from the Jimmy Whites, it appears, at Galway.
Certainly has been. I mean, that first one was a tremendous pick, wasn't it? 33 to 1 plus.
Yeah, about 75's on the machine, I think it was.
I think I got 60 summers.
Yeah. And I think it's gone, according to Andy Richmond, it's gone, I think, just about sub 2 to 1 in running, turning for home, you know. So, tremendous pick. And then the other night, a pick the other night, a nap of the week. Just ran into one. I think that was about 7s or 8s on the off. You know, so I feel for the lads. Catherine, if you're listening, I feel for you. You've done well this week. Me and Andy's done all right thereabouts. You got kilted, John, with the placing of Austrian Theory.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not been a bad week, but I mean, we bolstered the ranks for Saturday with Nick here because, like I said, Nick's opinion is much valued. So okay, guys, we'll kick off with the first race to look at. We'll start with HQ. I know Nick's not very keen on Newmarket Saturday, but we'll just cover the 2 off at Newmarket, and then we'll go to the main meeting that everyone's interested in at Goodwood. So it's the 210, John. It's the European Bloodstock Fillies Nursery Handicap for 6 furlongs on ITV. The 210 race, Symphony Perfect, his favourite. That was second in the Super Sprint. 5 to 1 is available for Richard Hannon and Pat Dobbs. Any views here?
Well, there was 2 I was sort of interested in, actually. Cashel, a friend of mine has a share in her with Harry Herbert.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's finding that good fun or not. I mean, whenever he goes racing, he has plenty of fun as a row, so I don't suppose Harry will be able to drag things down too much for him. I thought this did well at Haydock when she won there, and I was actually speaking to Tony about it, and I thought they might have actually hung on for the 6 furlong nursery at York, but I think the fact that they're coming here, the horses, I know for a fact the horse is in terrific nick at the minute.
Yeah.
And as good form on soft, albeit Haydock soft, which could be bollocks, as we all know. I think that's got a race of this nature in it off this mark, no question. The other one I was interested in was Between the Sheeps, which is quite appropriately named. It's Haley for Ding Dong. Now, this might have been looking for a mark, and as I said, it's very aptly named horse. I've never met a Haley that couldn't shag like a Comanche, to be honest. But that would
have we got good solicitors here?
Not really, no.
This is tame.
That would be my saver, I think, but I do fancy Cashel.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from Between the Sheets, because definitely that has more to come. I'm not sure how busy that's actually been, John, Between the Sheets. So Christopher Wright's definitely playing for a mark there. But Cashew, yeah, I mean, perfectly feasible is that. Born to See on the Dam side, kind of like that. And the favourite Symphony Perfect. She's by Fast Company. And what I looked at the action, because obviously if it does go soft tomorrow, which it could do, I don't know what's coming tonight and tomorrow morning. I'd just be a bit wary. Fast companies normally like a bit of cut in the ground, but I didn't see anything in the action. It's quite floaty, and that would explain why they've gone to Bath twice. And Chepstow was quite lively that day it ran when it was second. So it's interesting that they've hardly looked for soft ground with her. And her action worries me if it does go soft, even though she's by Fast Company, because there's she's very floats on the ground, if you like. So Symphony Perfect's got the form, obviously second in a super sprint, good form. Gubass acquitted itself well at Goodwood this week. But as I said, it's not a race for me. And I agree with John there. A couple of interesting ones in Cashew and Between the Sheets. Right, we'll quickly move on to the 245. Sorry, Nick, did you have an opinion there? I don't think you did. From what you were saying, I don't think you did the 210.
No, I haven't done any Newmarket ones. I didn't like them.
No, not right. Fair enough. So 245 race, John. We're left alone for the punters to press the pink. It's the Chalice Stakes, a listed affair. Sadar is the current market leader at 7-2 for Charlie Appleby. Save a Forest in there, and yes for Rafe and Ralph training partnership at 11-2. Any views here?
I think it's a pretty shocking haze, in all honesty. The thing I did think to myself, I thought there was one or two trainers of these fillies spunking some workable handicap marks by running in this.
Yeah, I got the same feeling. Yeah,
I was thinking, well, Portfolio could probably have won another handicap before they started the quest for black tape. Grady Betty never sells anything anyway, so I don't know why they'd be worried about her value as a broad mare. She's only going to break from her anyway. The one I was interested in at the prices was Sherbet Lemon, who's kind of already done this when she won the Oaks trial at Lingers.
Yep.
Which maybe sprung a bit of a surprise, but she's got that in the tank, and I think 14-1's quite sporting against some of these. I think she'll be ridden fairly handy. Won't be bothered if it pisses down, and I think 14-1's very fair against handicaps stepping up.
Good stuff. I'd also say, to folks out there, especially if the heavens start to open, because when she beat the market leader Save a Forest in that Lingfield Oaks trial, obviously on soft ground. So basically, if have a weather watch, she's not going to start 14-1 if the ground at Newmarket does end up soft tomorrow. So keep your eye on that. So yeah, good value perk there, John, with the Holly Doyle in the play. For me, I'm very keen on a filly of Rafe Ralph's. Yes. I think she's really smart. A debut win for me was probably discredited, if you like. The Racing Post gave her 86. I think she's better than that. She certainly proved that last time. I think that's a good race, and good strong form, that beating Fantasizing. The Summertime Romance was third of Marco Botti's, and that actually got a lesser Racing Post rating than on its debut. Well, that's impossible for one of Botti's, because they always need a run to Marco's. So I think that's strong form. But like John highlighted at the start of the preview of this race, there's a lot of fillies in here that they've kind of all just ruined the marks. It's just quite boring, because whatever finishes first and second in this ends up going up £10, and then that's it from a punting aspect. So it's a bit of a boring race. So yes for me, slight interest at around the 11-2 mark, and Sherbet Lemon for John. Been there, done it, he says, at 14-1. Right, we'll move on to Goodwood. We've got 5 races on ITV there to finish the Qataris Festival. And the first race of the day is the 7 furlong race at 120. It's the Thames Materials Handicap. Spirit of Bermuda heads the market at 9-2 for the Shagging Shirt and Tom Marquand. I'm going to come to you, Nick, because obviously you've been quiet because we've been blattering on about Newmarket. What is your thoughts on the 120, please?
I think it's a very good race, actually. I can see any of the first three in the market win. I mean, Goodwood's a place that has, I think, one of the most closest finishes, if not in the country. The aggregate of the finishes, you have the closest finishes in the country. So I like a horse that can travel and has got a bit of a kick to it. And I'm going to go with Master Zoffany. He could be 3 from 3, Odie. He travelled really well second time out over Haydock over 8 furlongs. Looked all over the winner. Didn't quite get home in the Haydock slop. And rectified that at Chester. I think he could probably get himself out of trouble with his toe. And he's the biggest price of the 3 on offer, I think, at the head of the market. But I think this is a good event and winners will come out of it.
Yeah, it's fair shout. So that's Master Zoffany for Nick at around the 7-1, I believe, best price for Richard Fay and Paul Hannigan. John, have you got the crown jewels in this?
I haven't got the crown jewels in it, but I think I've got a fair value pork here. Under Freedom of Henry Candy's. This has caught my eye twice now in this season. 2 runs at Sandown over 7. The first time, the horse was pretty free. Only got beat three parts of a length. The time after, obviously the plan was to get the horse settled, and that's never really a good idea at Sandown because you end up getting a shit position and it's hard to make up ground, and that was the case there, very much so, I thought.
Yeah.
It was well fancied that day, but, I think circumstances conspired against the horse. This might suit better because I think there'll be a fair bit of tag on here, and I think Josie will probably have a fairly easy sit in the 3 box. They'll fan out nicely for her because they'll cut right across the track, and I can see this doing fairly well, to be honest, tomorrow.
Good stuff, John. Run to Freedom, price under pressure, folks. Being well supported. The 10-1 starting to also become under pressure. John makes the case that taking a grip at Sandown and obviously being held up is not the ideal scenario. I completely agree with him. Ryan Moore's done plenty of that there. Well berthed in stall 3. Good selection, John. I'll play Blogger and the Stallion in this one, and I'm going to go for, obviously she did me a lovely turn at Newmarket last time. Spirit of Bermuda. She, I think obviously the form's there to see. Rising Stars come out and won at Musselburgh, obviously in a weaker race, but did it nicely on Sunday. And Spirit of Bermuda and the Botties filly had the race between them from 2 furlongs out. So I think there's more to come from Spirit of Bermuda. I did make that comment last at Newmarket. I think there's a lot more improvement to come from her. I'd like to think she get in the 90s. But again, the price again is 7-2. Am I jumping in? Am I saying I'm having a good bet? No. But that would be my choice. So Spirit of Bermuda for me, Master Zoffany for Nick, and Run to Freedom for John. The biggest price of the trio at 10-1. Okay. We'll go to our second race of the day. It is the Unibet Stewards Sprint Consolation Handicap. Obviously, for the ones that didn't quite make the big one, very unfortunate. His first folio and James Ferguson. That would have been the only 3-year-old to make the Stewards Cup this year. Sadly, didn't quite make the cut, but he's 5-1 strong market leader. Nick, view on this?
Yeah, nothing original. I mean, these kind of races, you look for 3 types of horses. One that used to be good and has regressed but might have come back. One that always runs well in Bethfields, and the progressive one. I've nothing original. There's pace, I think, all over the course here. And I'll probably just, I'm just sticking with Kimmy 5 for a place. It'll probably run out in the 4th or 5th. He's got the apprentice on it. It's on a winning mark. I think it either needs a fast run 6 or a slow run 7. But there's nothing really confident in it. Like I've looked up and down and nothing really think. But Kimmy 5, which give you a run, may run in a place at a big thing, and one day it might forget and stick its head in front.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good angle you mentioned, because obviously, like, sometimes I think everyone's obsessed with backing winners, and but it's something I utilise a lot on the exchanges. If you've got a horse that if you think it's got its right conditions, i.e. strong pace, but it's a bit of a thinker, a bit of a twicer, gets there and messes. They're fantastic in the place markets, it's all day long. You've got a good claimer in the saddle there as well, taking the 5 off. And right, I need your help here, because statistically, it's a great draw, is sort of like the low numbers in sort of big field sprints at Goodwood. Historically, it's good. In fact, just looking recently, on ground softer than good, so any going description with ground softer than good, stall 15 and above at Goodwood is 1 from 80, with 16 or more runners. 1 from 80, which I just found amazing. And the last one to win was Jenky back in the Stewards Cup in 2009. Stalls 1 to 12 are 11 from 156. They beat 57% of runners. So it marries up. Basically, you should be low. However, I'm confused, Nick, because the nursery, which was quite a large field today, 6 furlong race, it was dominated by the high numbers.
Yeah, that was strange. But I've noticed a lot of them went to the centre. No one went to the far side.
Right.
Sometimes these draws can be a bit. If they don't reach, it's like Ripon. If they've got enough stalls to fit over the far side, it used to be the far side. But if you've only got a 10, 11 runner field, no one goes there. They migrate to the middle or come stands.
Yeah.
Often these things can play out. I mean, not saying a high draw can't win, but I'm just thinking that if they don't go there, you don't know. And it's often where the senior jockeys are. If a senior jockey's in the middle and go and takes them far side, a few will go. But often, if a young apprentice out there, he'll want to go where the main people are, not to look an idiot.
Yeah, fair point. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow, John. What did you think to this?
Well, as I was sat there this morning watching Laura Tobin on GMTV, giving me the gently eating gobfuls of Weetabix with banana flavoured milk on, and doing some pace analysis on this race, and I've kind of convinced myself that Mr. Wagyu is going to give the near side a bit of a pace advantage. So then I started having a look through the near side horses at which ones were likely to handle the ground and which ones so on and so forth. So, and I've come up with a short list of 4 here. National League, Fahy, Indian Creek for Mick Windmill, Abel Kane for Rod Millman, and Abduction for Fahy again. And I've backed all 4. And I'm going to have an exotic TriCast on them as well. So
it's Abduction for Richard Fahey.
Yeah.
We've got. I'm just trying. It's such a big field. We've got
National League.
Yeah. So the two of
Yeah, 2 of Fays. Abel Kane, which was 2-3 last time. The pace of this horse no end at all in this race. To be honest, that's the one I fancy out the lot.
Sheen at 40.
Ran for Rod Millman, yeah. And the other one is Indian Creek for Mick Windmill. Seems this year to be an absolute reformed character for being gelded, that one. So I think that's open to improvement. National League's a bit quirky, but travel's like a travelly thing. And Abduction, 3-year-old, with a lot more to offer, I think. So while it looks a bit scattergun at first, I have given this a fair bit of thought, and I think that if you look at the best prices, the shortest price one's 21st to 1. So
some good choices there, big odds, John. Yeah, like them. I felt it was tough. I mean, obviously the 3-year-olds are all interesting because the 3-year-olds have got such a good record in the Stewards Cup. So why would they not have a good record in a consolation?
Absolutely.
But obviously, one of them's Fab as well. I'm not really interested at 5 to 1 for the Fab. Just again, something for me I thought was interesting. Treacherous is 2 from 2 here. Obviously loves this Gasol where they sometimes can go too hard. It's a pick up the pieces kind of horse. He's treacherous, loves a good pace to run at, and then just sluices through them strongly on the bridle. And I did like the fact it was Alicia Whittington off and Rossa Ryan on. So sorry for being sexist there, but yeah, I'm more than happy with the jockey switch for treacherous at 20-1. So we'll move on from the big 6 furlong Stewards consolation to quite a valuable handicap, the mile and 6 summer handicap, £100,000 guaranteed, which is decent prize money in lean times, can only be said for some of these big flat handicaps this season, which have been a disgrace. My Frankel heads the market quite surprisingly, John. Not sure he likes the dig in the ground at 13-2.
No, I'm not either. I mean, to me, this horse has a big performance in him at some point. Whether this will be here today, I don't know. I definitely think he's going to pro better than 100 horse. I think he's still immature for me. Well, a lot of people thought he ran quite well at Haydock. I thought he ran in a fairly immature sort of manner. He kept dropping a bit and what have you, and he was looking about a bit. And I think you might not even see the best of this horse till next year. But this could actually be run to suit him. It could conceivably drop in his lap if Ryan does as I expect and drops him out. I think there's enough kilt action in this race with 2 horses that have shown their absolute best when they've been from the front. That's the Trader and Hockfield. I think there could be a stinging gallop on here, considering the conditions. I think it might be a typical kilt brains out job. And I think you're going to be wanting something coming from the back. And if my Frankel isn't suited to the ground, I think that opens it up for On to Victory and Winner Clock in itself.
Okie dokie. So, my Frankel, as obviously John, regular listeners will know, is predicting a very big run or a big pot for my Frankel at some point this season. But, you know, Winner Clock and on to Victory. It's a capital.
Running in this, to be honest, I think it might be a case of desperation trying to pick up a penalty to get in the Aber because he's got more chance of winning Eurovision than getting in the Aber at the minute.
Yeah. No, fair point. Okay, John. Nick, your choice here, please.
Yeah, I went round and around this race from different angles. I mean, Johnson's got a good record in it, but Hockfield hasn't looked the same horse this year apart from a couple of runs. I couldn't make a case for anything really, but I have got a hunchy thing. In these times, sort of national hunt trainers have been. Kingy's done better on the flat this season. He's done a lot all over the jumps.
Yeah. And
David Pipe is 43% of his flat runners in the last year, and he's got an ex-German here called Lady Killer at a massive price. Now it might be there just for the run, but it's had a wind up, and it says it's got the hood for the first time. Lady Killer won a German Group 1. German, was it Group 1 or Group 2 or something like that? It's been off for a long time. It's only had one run for Pipe about 300 days ago over hurdles. And I thought, what are you doing here? Are you just doing this for hurdles prep? But there's nothing really around this time of year for hurdles. Because usually, the thing is give them something for a month before a target over a different code. But I thought you're 25-1 here, and if you see money for it, it might well be a shout. He might be after some prize money. He hasn't had many big profile flat runners at all on big handicaps, but he's still 43% over the last year. 7 winners from 16 runners. So 25-1 could be another target somewhere, but you never know.
Good shout. Lady Killer for David Pipe, Adam Kirby, Derby winning jockey. 40-1, Nick, I think, is available in places. So avail yourself of that. Like you said, Group 3 performer in Germany, and obviously now coming over in England with a wind up for the first time. Obviously, the hood to maybe settle the gelding, obviously chosen by David Pipe, but very interesting stats there from Nick. Myself, I'm keen on Urban Artist of Hughie Morrison's.
Does it get home, Lee? Does it get home properly?
Yeah, I think she does. I mean, she won over obviously a mile and a half last year. She was second to a good filly of called Tracer of Joseph O'Brien's. What I like with this is Huey could have gone for the Lilly Langtry, and he's obviously chosen not to. He's obviously chosen to drop her into a handicap. And like, I just think that she could outrun her odds of. She's price is under pressure, 9 or 10 to 1. But that form with Tribal Craft and McCarway at York is very strong form. She's definitely worthy of a mark. She was third to Qatar at Pontefract last time. Golden Pass of Carlton Palmer's was second, and Golden Pass beat Free Wind of John Gosden's at Newmarket in a listed event at the last meeting there. It's strong form, and I just like the fact that the handicapper relented a couple of pounds for Pontefract on good to firm ground, which I don't think suits. I think she wants a bit of cut in the ground. And don't forget, O'Sheen is riding for his grandmother. O'Sheen's gran owns this horse. So yeah, I mean, he's going to be riding for his life. So I thought the Mare Urban Artist deserved a lot of respect. Do take your point a bit, Nick. That the fact is, will she see out the mile and 6 properly? She's a mare that likes to go forward. She doesn't have to lead. She likes to go forward. Another in here that I've got my eye on is Ade, because obviously this is sort of like an Ebor trial for some of these. You've got horses rated 100. Some of these might need to sort of win or run well to sort of get in the Ebor. I mean a day.
Hard old event, isn't it?
Yeah, a day. I think wants decent ground. That was the most eye-catching runner, was a day in the John Smith's Cup. They absolutely crawled. Johnny Drama obviously in a better position. You watch a day come from the back. I mean, it was a great run. And there's a lot of promise there in a day, but I'm just not happy with the Goodwood ground. I think it's dead. It's slow ground. It's not, it's not ground that I think this wants the surface on top, which is a shame. If the surface had been on top, I'd have been all over a day to win this, but sadly it's not. Okay, hope that points you in the right direction. We've got a short price in the next. It's the 305. It is the Lilly Langtry. Wonderful tonight. Obviously, very, very classy filly, winning the Hardwick. I just lost my words. Hardwick at Ascot last time, beating Broome and Hucum, and now takes her own sex on with a penalty for David Menuisier and Will Buick. 4-5 though, Nick. Is the juice in that? Is it a banker, or do we look elsewhere?
Well, you know me, I always try to look beyond. The only thing you say is all her runs have been on flat tracks, haven't they? All her career, and this will be the first time an upsy-downy, all-round over undulating thing. You don't know how she'll handle it. I mean, second in didn't handle Epsom that well, hung around. If I had to have a bet, I'd probably go with the Nuts and Hay down the bottom. 3-year-olds getting weight off their elders this time of year over long distances. Looks to be slowly coming to the boil. Second to Snowfall, good form. And a big price. I mean, it's not a confident thing, but regarding the favourite, she should win. But the track's different, completely different from she'll ever seen before. That's the only thing with there.
Very true. I mean, Goodwood. I mean, there was a horse I backed the other day. Just didn't handle it at all. Coming round the bend and down the hill, just didn't handle it. And like you say, it is different from your lovely flat galloping bowls that the favourite's been on. That's something you might want to consider if taking a short price. Maybe. Obviously, she's the best on form. We can see that. That's why she's 4-5. And obviously, the long-term plan for her will be the Arc again. So yeah, but divinely for Nick at sort of a value price. But like Nick says, it's one of those races where you could see the favourite winning easy if she handles the track. If she doesn't, divinely, maybe I'll take advantage of that. John, your choice.
Lift her home, Will, lift her home. It's all going off. We're living our best life. He's dancing. He's dancing. Look at him dancing. Sorry.
Is that a prediction for a certain Twitter account tomorrow?
I think he.
Yeah, it's very blogger bet that, isn't it? You know.
Oh, bollocks on job, isn't he?
Yeah, I can see him with the selfie. 2 out. Lift him, Will. Lift. He'll probably even get it wrong like I've just done. He'll probably say lift him, not lift her. Yeah. Yeah, like you say, any selection, John?
Yeah, the favourite.
Yeah, I know. What else can you do? But it's like you say, I'm in Nick's camp, to be honest. I'm probably, it could be a gin and pate and just watch. I might do a bit in running, but
asking for trouble, in it, betting it.
A good class of pate. Go to M&S or Waitrose for some decent pate, some duck pate or something like that. I don't know. Right, 340 at Goodwood. The Stewards Cup. We saved the best till last. The price, though, gents, is under pressure. But
I must plead guilty yesterday to. As soon as I saw it got trap 1, I was out faster than tree trunk with the local authorities' petty cash tin down to Greg's to grab the 66 to 1. Ostilio, it's been a little project of mine. I've kept an eye on, and the fact that the trainer has chosen stall 1. You look at Red Car last year. He had the running rail to his right hand side when Thrasher had him at Ascot last time. He pulled him out and he hung a bit to the right. I think he's got these. He's one of those that's got the back class, and he's had those runs over 7, then dropped to 5, and today's 6. If I had to be picky, I wouldn't want the jockey on. And I may want a tongue tie, but you can't have everything at that price, can you?
No. So Ostilio for Nick. John?
Well, what can you say? Here we go. Get the klaxon ready.
I think we needed. I mean, I need one of these ding dong klaxons or these things that you've got, these sound effects like ding dong.
I'm sorry about the price, but rather like Nicholas, I had to get involved this morning.
Yeah.
The 66 with Corals didn't. Well, I don't think it lasted till I finished the phone call, to be honest. But there we go.
Right, Ostilio, 33 to 1. You can still get 40 to 1 in one place. Sky bet. Sprint away. Take it. This horse, for me, has been primed for the event. You can just absolutely tell it's typical Midgley. Needed the first run. Shaped well at Newcastle, again in adequate 5. Not even knocked about. Was out of its ground. Shaped well late. Finished late. Now up to 6. It's always been keen for Crisford. So you've got weight off for nothing from the start of the season. I think the strongly run 6 would be absolutely perfect. The one negative, it's got Thrasher Morris on board. It's terrible. Agricultural, rubbish jockey, but it will do. 33 to 1. It's a Barstewards special, folks. We've not had one for a bit. We've done it before with Staunton at Thirst. We've had some big specials this year. 33 to 1, 40 to 1 in a place. Ostilio, get on. That's me, John, and Nick. All the lights are on. The green lights are on. The green lights are on. We've done it. So Ostilio is a Barstewards special to hopefully.
Beans on toast at 350.
Yes, soup for me. Soup for me as well, if beat. But yeah, Ostilio is the big one. We hope you enjoyed the show, the three of us. Bringing Nick on's a pleasure because very, very good judge. And I'm sure we'll get him.
It's a pleasure to be on there again, Lee.
Yeah, we'll get you back on again because it's your insights invaluable for some of the big meetings. So, folks, we hope you enjoyed it. Me and John are back on Sunday with Lorne Malvo off Twitter. We're back for a Sunday sermon to chew the fat. Well, we're going to be bitching and talking about the ground, the racing league, all shit like that, and just slagging everybody off as usual. That's all from me. Bye from Nick and John. Bye for now.